Seniors, welcome to this, your graduation. You might have guessed this wasn't quite how we had it planned. I bet you thought as well that perhaps, given this virtual commencement, you were going to miss all speech making, but alas, no. I will endeavor to be brief amidst this celebration, recognizing that tonight is all about you and your many accomplishments at Alma College. Alma College class of 2020, congratulations. Our pride in you has never been greater than on this day. You have achieved great things in these years at Alma College, and we have greater expectations still as we imagine all that you will accomplish in the lives before each of you. And yet, how uncertain are these days when everything we do has become virtual. Our gatherings, virtual, our appointments, virtual, our happy hours, somewhat less happy, also virtual. Sadness and joy, empathy and indifference, love and hatred, all demoted to virtual interactions we have with one another. Even the care of those we love most, our grandparents, parents, far too often these days, virtual. And even this experience that we, generations of Alma faculty and staff, have honed and crafted so carefully through the many decades, an Alma education became for a few short weeks virtual as well. And thus too, this, your graduation ceremony, virtual. Never in the lifetimes of even our most senior faculty at Alma College have we seen a year like the one just ended. And yet, Alma College has struggled through crises before. The Spanish flu, the Depression, 2 world wars. Think how the young men who left Alma College to serve in World War I must have felt upon their return. February 11th, 1919 issue of the Almanian welcomed them back as heroes, but acknowledged that they were changed. "Welcome back to our midst, you old men," it read. Well, these returning Alma students were all of 23, but they were changed forever by the experience of war, and so their fellow students recognized. And so, with each of you, the experience of this worldwide pandemic will change you. It has changed you. Never before have we been compelled to separate ourselves one from another so abruptly. Never before have we sent forth a senior class without celebrating together. Never before has life worked quite like this. But then we are told you are better prepared for this brave new world than we, your faculty and staff. You are young, and we've said for years, digital natives. And so you're supposed to be ready for this retreat into a world shrunk to the size of an iPhone screen. But my guess is you're not feeling terribly native to this place where we've arrived. Who could? My guess is that you're feeling what your elders also feel in these fraught moments for our globe. A desperate yearning to be with others, a need to embrace those you love most, to be with friends whose presence in your life has changed your sense of meaning and purpose. We are not virtual beings. And we are, of course, native to a place, not to the ether, but to the soil and trees and the people we know best. How will this pandemic change you? Understandably, you may now be focusing on all that you have lost because of COVID-19. The senior year you planned, time with Alma friends, the opportunity to gather your families here on campus to celebrate all that you have achieved. Those are painful losses. But what, you may come to reflect, have you gained? Perhaps a new appreciation for the depth of these Alma relationships and many others. Time with family that you may never have had otherwise. And perhaps most importantly, a deeper understanding of both love and loss than you may have ever attained. It's a part of our common humanity to feel and at times to bear the burdens of those around us, to experience suffering and to empathize for those who suffer. Empathy is sadly out of fashion these days, replaced by boundless self-regard in our leaders and in ourselves. The me decade of my college years has become the rule rather than the exception. If we have, as a nation, as the world, become more callous to one another, less engaged, the pandemic is here to remind us that to be human is to be committed to one another, that we are social beings, and two, that suffering is, as the ancient Greeks knew, the source of the most hard-won wisdom. What is it to suffer? Well, in your philosophy classes, your English classes, history and language study, you've come up against that question again and again, I expect. It is central to a liberal arts education. These past weeks I've been reading narratives of plague and pandemic. It's mildly depressing, really, but somehow also uplifting to see writer after writer show life emerging, albeit slowly, from the depths of loss. In Albert Camus' The Plague, an epidemic in Algeria becomes an allegory for the evil of World War II. But it's also a story all too familiar to us today of early dismissal and even denial of warning signs of crisis, of the collapse of human connections and the pain of that collapse, of human suffering and how we retain our humanity in spite of it. For Camus, suffering is randomly distributed. It makes no sense. It is simply absurd, and that is the kindest thing one can say of it. His insight here is that our lives need not be defined by the pain and loss we see, but instead by our response to it. The challenge that his characters face, as we do today, is to make meaning of loss. That is our sacred human charge in all times, but especially in these. Strange as it may sound, I hope that your Alma education has taught you about the meaning of suffering, even the meaning of death. For to be prepared for death is to have learned what it is most precious in life, what really matters. In an Alma liberal arts education is ultimately about knowing how to choose that which really matters in order to find your way to the good life. In these difficult days, each of us is seeking meaning amidst great suffering indeed. We must acknowledge hundreds of thousands dead, billions of lives disrupted, the world economy in free fall. And yet we will find meaning in it all, for this is what we do as human beings. This pandemic gives us an opportunity to reimagine our very humanity, each of us. Our opportunity as human beings is to respond to suffering with love, to be defined not by our losses, but by our understanding of the value of each and every human relationship. Every one of you will recall this time for the rest of your lives, and every one of you will have grown in meeting the shared challenges that we confront today. Graduates, we could not be prouder of you. You have achieved so much in 4 years at Alma College. We have missed you these last months, and we look forward to that time in the next year when we can welcome you back with joy to your college so that you can walk across the stage before your parents and friends and properly graduate. We may all be wearing masks. We might be on the chapel lawn so that we can be 6 feet apart. No matter, we will be together again, a community, sharing our joys and sorrows and sharing a bond of common experience that unites us with men and women around our nation and around the world. We will be together again. We will survive this time and regather from our sheltering in place to find that we are stronger still. So, graduates, go forward with confidence. In spite of all that faces your generation and your world, remember that the great struggle we face today will not define you. Your response to it will. And so live with abandon and a deep sense of purpose at once. Cherish those you love. And in the words of our mission, think critically, serve generously, lead purposefully, and live responsibly. These are our great aspirations for the lives you will lead. They're also the characteristics of the leaders our world needs today. We wish you well and Godspeed. And so congratulations, Alma College, class of 2020.
Hello, my name is Asiel Clark and I am the 72nd Barlow Award recipient. I'm really grateful to have received this award, not just because it's an incredible honor, but because it gives me the opportunity to talk to you in this capacity about something I've been thinking about a lot lately. That is precognition, seeing into the future. So in Dungeons & Dragons, there's a spell called Foresight that lets someone see into the future. I definitely did not have a spell slot for it senior year because this did not end the way that I imagined. The possibilities, the expectations of our last semester at university, the performances, matches, parties, blissful hours doing nothing with someone you love, the experiences that we all kind of looked forward and planned for, it just Thanos snapped out of existence. And maybe on top of that, you also lost your income, opportunities, resources you need. Maybe you've returned to a place you don't feel safe in, or you missed out on chances to say goodbye. All of us are feeling some type of way about this. Not just the graduation thing, but like this whole constant barrage of bad news, this looming feeling of the apocalypse. And maybe it's making you feel confused or sad, listless, angry, or remorseful. Maybe you're grieving. Maybe you're like me and you're afraid. Actually, I've been afraid my whole life. I've been afraid since the first time I was truly hungry. Since the first time I realized people can go away and never come back. I've been afraid since I learned about the climate crisis. Since the first time I realized I could fail. And I know that sounds kind of sad, but I don't think it is. See, fear is complex, and because of it, we can learn a lot from it. Actually, from fear, we can learn about seeing into the future. Fear teaches lessons in time. Fear is rooted in the past, exists in the present, and can only see the future. For example, let's say that when I was a kid, I was bitten by a dog. So now I'm in the present and I'm faced with this adorable creature behind me, and fear gives me a prediction and shows me a vision where he's bitten me. And now all I can see is that future. But the thing is that there's a difference between the dog in my mind and the dog that's actually in front of me. Pokemon, the move Future Sight, it has a 90% accuracy. Sci-fi and fantasy, divination and stuff like that, kind of, the accuracy hovers between 40% and 99%. But in real life, like for mankind, I would be surprised if we were at 30%. See, it doesn't change the fact that sometimes fear it gives you accurate visions, but it does make you ask when it's useful to believe in those visions given its accuracy. So to answer that, here's another lesson I learned from fear. Being afraid is an obstacle, but it's also an opportunity. Those of you who know me know that I am a hopeless romantic. I love corny romance books, movies where the good guys defeat the bad guys through the power of friendship. Like, I am all for that. And in all of these stories and in stories that I've heard from real people that I've met in real life, there's this moment where the hero has to face fear and challenge fear in the name of some greater good. Fear is a trap that we build around us. It's a cage that we construct from the inside. It can make us build walls thick enough to hide our vulnerabilities and insecurities, but the consequence of it is that these walls are so thick that you cannot feel the sunshine and you can't see beyond the garden wall. Sometimes fear prevents us from seeing, living, or appreciating the present. Or you can be like these heroes, and you can use fear as a stepping stone for greater things, for kindness and honesty, sincerity, dedication, passion, discipline, strength, compassion, love. More than believing in fear, I believe in you and I believe in me. I believe in the frats and sororities that live and work in haunted buildings. I believe in the athletes and performers who face their nerves in the pursuit of some greater display of humanity. I believe in the mourners and the writers and the researchers and the debaters who push against the comfort of established thought in pursuing some greater truth. I believe in the Netflix bingers, the social media addicts, and the creative minds who constantly shift paradigms. I believe in the poets, the protesters, the misfits, the thinkers, and the dreamers. I believe in the class of 2020. And the fact of it is that we made it. With or without the ability to see into the future, we made it through pimples and braces and breakups, change, death, love, and thoughts that threaten to drag us outside of ourselves. We made it. You made it. And I am so, so proud of you, and I love you so much. I hope that you hear this often. I am so, so proud of you, and I love you so much. The thing is that if anyone can use these trials to save the world or save a friend or save themselves, then it's you. Congratulations, class of 2020. Let the great work begin.
President Abernathy, it's my privilege to present the degree candidates from the class of 2020 for conferral of their degrees. These students have completed the prescribed courses of study for the degree of Bachelor of Arts, Bachelor of Science, Bachelor of Science in Nursing, Bachelor of Music, and Bachelor of Fine Arts. The faculty recommends the granting of the appropriate degrees and honors listed.
And here it is. The moment has arrived. By the authority vested in me by the Board of Trustees of Alma College and in accordance with the laws of the state of Michigan, I now confer upon you the degrees of Bachelor of Arts, Bachelor of Science, Bachelor of Science in Nursing, Bachelor of Music, and Bachelor of Fine Arts, with all the rights, privileges, and responsibilities pertaining thereto. Congratulations. And now I am pleased to officially introduce the class of 2020. Congratulations, one and all. What follows is an individual recognition for each graduate and all that they have accomplished. Thank you for joining us tonight for Commencement 2020. All of these videos will remain on the Commencement web page for you to enjoy. Be safe and take good care all. Stay in touch with us here at Alma.